good evening, everybody. You just have to give me 2 minutes. My computer with my music on it is upstairs. I've been having the worst time imaginable with my printer. Oh, look, here's Georgie to say hello at least. I have been having the worst time imaginable with my printer this evening, and I think I finally got it to work. If not, I'm going to read from my computer. Oh, hi. Hi, Anita. My husband was like, what? 11 o'clock at night? No one's going to tune in. And I said, well, maybe they will. Because not only do they listen in from Vienna, but they listen in from all over the world as well. So, guys, give me 2 minutes. Georgie, sing them a song. Okay, it's up to you. Sit, Georgie. It's up to you now to sing them a song while I go and get the printouts. I haven't even been able to read it, so just bear with me for 2 minutes. Sing, Georgie. Sing in your own words what you mean to sing. Georgie, what did I do with my folder? You kept everyone entertained, Georgie. There's my folder. There we go. Okay. So, watch out, Georgie, move. Thank you very much. So, have you hung on? Thank you so much. Did you keep them entertained? Did you? I thought I would come downstairs and I would play beautiful music. I was coming downstairs. It was like the arrival of the Queen of Sheba. And now my computer is doing that thing that it does occasionally where it decides just not to play my music. So, right, you can sit down now, though. You can sit down and go away if you want to. Feel free to move and not be around here right now. So, now you know how we set this whole thing up. Here we go. We've actually got 2 nights to read tonight, potentially. We'll see how far we go. What do you reckon, Georgie? There we go. Oh, we've got it, Georgie. All's well that ends well, hey? Show ain't over till the fat lady sings. That's what we're saying, exactly. These little wristy things are going to annoy me. Right, hello everybody. I'm sorry. Hi. Hi Jihad. Hi Anita. Anybody else who happens to tune in? Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am here. As I said to my husband, the sun never sets on the Vienna Theatre Project. Hey Georgie, come hell or high water, we'll do this shit. Excuse me for swearing online. Right, are you going to go away now though, so that I can drink my drink? I think I need to drink my whole glass of wine very quickly, so that, right, sit or go away, either or. There you go. Good, thank you very much. Good evening, children. How are we today? Have you all had a really great day? Let me tell you, my dog's sitting on everything. Stop. Sit. I had a beautiful day today with my hubby. We went to a wonderful place, a wonderful castle just outside of Vienna, for those of you who live in Austria and maybe are in and around Vienna and have never been there before. We went, yes, well, if you slip on that, Georgie, you're going to knock my tripod over. And we went, stop, go away, shoo. We went to this lovely, lovely castle slash Schloss, whatever you call it, Burg, actually, I think it was called. And it's called Rosenburg. And if you have never been, see, look, here I am without makeup, everything. If you have never been to Rosenburg before, I absolutely recommend it. That's what my husband and I did. I will post a couple of pictures later on Facebook or on the Vienna Theatre Project page, actually, so you can see what I'm talking about. I do recommend it for family and with your partner and just on your own. They have bird viewings, so they have, like, you know, where they fly birds of prey around. It's a very beautiful little stucco castle. And then after that, we went to Gars am Camp and had a really, really fantastic lunch. I have to say, it was really tasty. In this place, some Goldenem Hirsch, I think it was called, which kind of looked a little bit more like a Heuriger, but it was actually a restaurant and fantastic food. I really, really recommend it. And then we had a look around the castle after that, and I had a walk on stage, which was really exciting because they have a stage set up there and everything. Because normally at this time of year, and in fact they would be preparing right now to put on Carmen, the opera, but unfortunately, as you know, a lot of things in Austria have closed down, even over the summer still, festival-wise, which is a real shame actually, because you could have gone, hi Katerina, you could see that you could have done a show there. Maybe they would have had to have had less people, but they could have put up something. Anyway, it's closed down for the summer, but I do highly recommend. Gars am Camp was very, very pretty. Swans in the river, in the Gars River. I think it's camp. I think it's Gars am Camp, so the river must be camp, right? This is a camp river. I'm sorry. My little English heart went aflutter with that one. So it's a camp river and river camp, and very pretty swans, very pretty town, small town. The Burg at the top is very lovely, well worth a visit. It's free, you can walk in, it costs nothing to walk around that, because basically it's a Burg Ruine. But I'm not going to tell you the history of it. You should go and find out for yourself. And before that, as I said, we went to Rosenburg. And if you are in Austria and you've never been to Rosenburg before, if you have the means of getting there, do go, because it was incredibly pretty. Right. I have absolutely no idea what I'm reading tonight, everybody. I want to let you know I have not pre-read this at all, because I was having so many problems with my computer and my printer that I have literally spent the last 3 hours trying to sort this stuff out. So please bear with me and be very, very patient today. I shall not be doing it in the dulcet tones that Saman gave it to you yesterday evening. Or maybe I will, who knows. So let us give this a go. Now, for those of you who tune in for the first time, my name is Joanna Godwin Seidl. I run a theatre company in Vienna, Austria called Vienna Theatre Project. And during the lockdown, because of that virus thing, a colleague and I decided, and a very good friend decided to read 1001 Arabian Nights, We are no longer in lockdown. We are reading for you anyway, and we look very much forward to having your participation, and we're very glad to be able to send this all around the world and enjoy your wonderful company every evening with us. So, here we go. We are now on the 46th night of 1001 Arabian Nights. And let me just, I'm going to bring you closer. That's exciting, isn't it? All right, steady on. There we go. All right, good. So, now, when it was the 46th night, Scheherazade said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that after the ambassadors and retinue from the Constantinopolitan king had kissed the ground before Omar and had delivered their embassage, they brought out the presents, which were 50 damsels of the choicest." Sounds a little bit like, oh, and I brought out my best strawberries, which were 50 damsels of the choicest from Gracioland, and 5 Mamelukes in tunics of brocade, belted with girdles of gold and silver, each wearing his ear hoops of gold, with pendants of fine pearls, costing 1,000 ducats every one. The girls were adorned in like fashion, and they were clad in stuffs worth a treasury of money. When the king saw them, he rejoiced in them and accepted them. Then he bade the ambassadors be honourably entreated, and summoning his wazirs, took counsel with them of what he should do. Herewith rose up among them a wazir, an ancient man, Dandan hight, who kissed the ground before Omar and said, "O king, there is nothing better to do in this matter than equip an army valiant and victorious, and set over it thy son Sharkan with us as his lieutenants. And this rede commendeth itself to me on 2 counts. First, because the king of Roum hath invoked thine assistance and hath sent thee gifts which thou hast accepted. And secondly, because while no enemy dareth attack our country, thine army may go forth safely, and should it succour the king of Gracioland and defeat his foe, the glory will be thine. Moreover, the news of it will be noised abroad in all cities and countries, and especially when the tidings shall reach the islands of the oceans, and the kings of Mauritania shall hear it. They will send thee offerings of rarities and pay thee tribute of money." The king, pleased by the wazir's words and approving his rede, gave him a dress of honour and said to him, "Of the like of thee should kings ask counsel, and it seemeth fit that thou shouldest conduct the van of our army, and our son Sharkan command the main battle." Then he sent for his son, who came and kissed ground before him and sat down. And he expounded to him the matter, telling him what the ambassadors and the Wazir Dandan had said. And he charged him to take arms and equip himself for the campaign, enjoining him not to gainsay Dandan in aught he should do. Moreover, he ordered him to pick out of his army 10,000 horsemen, armed cap a pee, and inured to onset and stress of war. Accordingly, Sharkan arose on the instant and chose out a myriad of horsemen, after which he entered his palace and mustered his host and distributed largesse to them, saying, "Ye have delay of 3 days." They kissed the earth before him in obedience to his commands, and began at once to lay in munitions and provide provisions for the occasion, whilst Shah Khan repaired to the armories and took therefrom whatsoever he required of arms and armour, and thence the stable where he chose horses of choice, blood, and others. When the appointed 3 days were ended, the army drew out to the suburbs of Baghdad city, and King Omar came forth to take leave of his son, who kissed the ground before him and received from the king 7 parcels of money. Then he returned to Dandan and commended to his care the army of his son. And the wazir kissed the ground before him and answered, I hear and I obey. And lastly, he charged Shah Khan that he should consult the wazir on all occasions, which he promised to do. After this, the king returned to his city, and Shah Khan ordered the officers to muster their troops in battle array. So they mustered them, and their number was 10,000 horsemen, besides footmen and camp followers. Then they loaded their baggage on their beasts, and the war drums beat, and the trumpets blared, and the bannerols and the standards were unfurled, while Shah Khan mounted horse with the wazir Dandan by his side, and the colours fluttering over their heads. So the host fared forth, and stinted not faring, with the ambassadors preceding them, till day departed and night drew nigh, when they alighted and encamped for the night. And as soon as Allah caused the morn tomorrow, they mounted and heeled on, guided by the ambassadors, for a space of 20 days. And by the night of the 21st, they came to a fine and spacious wadi, well grown with trees and shrubbery. Here Shah Khan ordered them to alight and commanded a 3 days' halt. So they dismounted and pitched their tents, spreading their camp over the right and the left slopes of the extensive valley, whilst the wazir Dandan and the ambassadors of King Afridun pitched in the soul of the wadi. As for Shah Khan, he tarried behind them for a while, till all had dismounted and had dispersed themselves over the valley sides. He then slacked the reins of his steed, being minded to explore the wadi and to mount guard in his own person. Because of his father's charge, and owing to the fact that they were on the frontier of Gracia land and in the enemy's country. So he rode out alone after ordering his armed slave and his bodyguard to camp near the wazir Dandan, and he fared on along the side of the valley till a 4th part of the night was past, and when he felt tired and drowsiness overcame him, so that he could no longer urge horse with heel. Now he was accustomed to take rest on horseback, so when slumber overpowered him, he slept, and the steed ceased not going on with him till half the night was spent, and entered one of the thickets, which was dense with growth. But Shah Khan awoke not, until his horse stumbled over wooded ground. Then he started from sleep and found himself among the trees, and the moon arose and shone brightly over the 2 horizons, eastern and western. He was startled when he found himself alone in this place, and said the say, which ne'er yet shamed its sayer, "There is no majesty and there is no might save in Allah, the glorious and the great. But as he rode on in fear of wild beasts, behold, the moon spread her glad light over a meadow, as if 'twere of the meads of paradise. And he heard pleasant voices and a loud noise of talk and laughter, captivating the sense of men. So King Shah Khan alighted, and tying his steed to one of the trees, went over a little way till he came upon a stream and heard a woman talking in Arabic and saying, "Now, by the truth of Messiah, this is not well of you, but whoso utters a word, I will throw her and truss her up with her own girdle." He kept walking in the direction of the sound, and when he reached the further side, he looked, and behold, a stream was gushing and flowing, and antelopes at large were frisking and roving, and wild cattle amid the pastures moving, and birds expressed joy and gladness in their divers tongues, and that place was purfled with all manner of flowers and green herbs, even as a poet described it in these couplets. Most beautiful is earth in budding bloom, when lucid waters course through plain and wood. No work but his, the all-great, the all-glorious, giver of all gifts, giver of all good. And as Shah Khan considered the place, he saw in it a Christian monastery, within whose enceinte a castle towered high in the air, catching the light of the moon. Through the mist of the convent passed a stream, and the water flowing amongst its gardens. Upon the bank sat the woman whose voice he had heard, while before her stood 10 handmaids like moons, and wearing various sorts of raiment and ornaments that dazed and dazzled the beholder. High-bosomed virgins, as saith of them the poet in these couplets. The mead is bright in what is on it, of merry maidens debonair, double its beauty and its grace, those trooping damsels, slender, fair. Virgins of graceful swimming gait, ready with eye and lip to ensnare. And, like the tendrilled vine, they lose the rich profusion of their hair, shooting their shafts and arrows from beautiful eyes beyond compare, overpowering and transpiercing every froward adversary. Shah Khan gazed upon the 10 girls and saw in their midst a lady, like the moon at fullest, with ringleted hair and forehead sheeny white, and eyes wondrous wide and black and bright, and temple locks like the scorpion's tail, and she was perfect in essence and attributes, as the poet said of her in these couplets. She beamed on my sight with a wondrous glance, and her straight, slender stature enshamed the lance. She burst on my sight with cheeks rosy red, where all manner of beauties have habitants, and the locks on her forehead were lowering as night, whence issues a dawn tide of happiest chance. Then Shah Khan heard her say to the handmaids, Come ye on, that I may wrestle with you and gravel you ere the moon set and the dawn break. So each came up to her in turn, and she grounded them forthright, and pinioned them with their girdles, and ceased not wrestling, and pitching them until she had overthrown one and all. Then there turned to her an old woman who was before her, and the beldam said in wrath, O strumpet, dost thou glory in throwing them 40 times? So, what hast thou to boast of? But if thou have the strength to wrestle with me, stand up, that I may grip thee and set thy head between thy heels. The young lady... I hope that didn't stop, everybody, because I just had my phone just told me that I was losing battery. O strumpet, we'll go back. O strumpet, dost thou glory in groundling these young girls? Behold, I am an old woman, yet I have thrown them 40 times. So what hast thou to boast of? But if thou have the strength to wrestle with me, and stand up, that I may grip thee and set thy head between thy heels. The young lady smiled at her words, but she was filled with inward wrath, and she jumped up and asked, O, my lady Zat al-Dawahi, by the truth of the Messiah, wilt thou wrestle with me in very deed, or dost thou jest with me? And she answered, Yea. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. And you know what, guys? I am going to leave it there. I know it wasn't that bad, was it? A little bit of a short one, but not uber short, because I didn't put my loading cable on my phone. So I am filming me reading to you from my phone, and I wouldn't want to lose out on the story in the last minute. So I'm going to leave you right there with that one, because I think that is an exciting moment to leave this story, because maybe something a little bit naughty is going to happen tomorrow. You know what always happens in these stories. You've got 10 handmaidens all fighting with each other and one bloke. I don't think I need to say more, but maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised and something really innocent and beautiful is going to happen, like a true, gorgeous love story like we've had in some of the last stories. I will read for you again tomorrow, I think. So if you want to tune in tomorrow, as I didn't read yesterday, Saman can't do tomorrow, but I think unless my husband and I go out, please stay tuned. I'm going to put it up on Facebook. But I think I'm going to read for you tomorrow, because I want to find out what happens in the rest of this story myself. And then we can press on, because we still do have, what's 1001 minus 46 nights to go, which is still quite an awful lot of nights there. You know what, Tim, you're absolutely welcome. I always, as you know, I say this every time, and it is every time the absolute truth. I always enjoy reading for you. I'm sorry tonight was so late, but actually it turns out quite a lot of you tuned in anyway, so that was really lovely. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, so late. That was a real pleasure. Maybe I'll do it so late tomorrow night again, because you know, here in Austria, although the lockdown has loosened up a little bit, we are still forced to go home by the government at 11 o'clock in the evening, because apparently the COVID virus becomes particularly virulent after 11 o'clock at night, 11 p.m. And it is actually, I have to admit, it is a time, you know, if you've had a few drinks with your friends, you do start getting a bit closer, and you stop social distancing so much, and you stop being so aware of it. So, good night from me, and good night from Georgie. Georgie, come and say good night, Georgie. Come and say good night, boo-boo. Come on, boo-boo. Go and say goodnight to everybody. They would love to see you again, I'm sure. So it's a good night from me, and it's a good night from Georgie, who's like, what, you got me up just to say good night for them. You are welcome. Late night sessions are not bad things, right? I think we should do them every so often because they're kind of fun. I do apologise for it, though, as I said, Anita. It was an unfortunate chain of events. Hey, Georgie, but we were determined to do it anyway. And Georgie came with us, by the way. That's the other thing. If you do have a dog, because this is sometimes important for us, you know, we can't leave the dog on his own all day long, of course, because that wouldn't be a very kind thing to do. If you do have a dog, you can take him to the Rosenburg. They let dogs in there. In fact, not only do they let dogs in there, we were absolutely amazed. The dog could actually go into the building. I know, that was really, because I said initially, to Gerhard, oh, well, I don't think Georgie would even enjoy going into the building. So, you know, there was a really nice little cafe out in the courtyard of the Burg. And I said, well, look, why don't you go in and I'll sit outside with Georgie and wait, and then I'll go in. And then my husband came out after 2 minutes and went, it's really roomy and spacey in there. I think the dog's going to be fine. Let's go together. So we did. So we took Georgie inside the castle building and had some couple of very nice little rooms and Rittersäle and everything. And by the way, it is also the oldest jousting courtyard in Europe. So there's a thing. It's not used as a jousting courtyard anymore. Not even as a summer event thing, I don't believe. But it really was very pretty. You can take your dogs there. There were other people with dogs there. And in Gazenkamp, up at the top of the Burg Ruine, so the ruined castle, you can take your dogs up there to have a wander around as well. So it was a very dog-friendly day if you have dogs. So I'm going to end up talking again. Guys, I want to wish you the nicest of evenings. It was so much fun doing this late night thing with you. I look forward to doing something tomorrow, another late night thing tomorrow, and we'll read the 47th night as I've already printed it out. And I'm very excited to see what happens with our 10 handmaidens and the other two, right? There's 12 of them, right? And King Shah Khan. And tomorrow is another day. Have a beautiful Saturday. You're welcome. Lovely reading for you. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. If your Friday is only just starting or you're in the middle of it, have a wonderful Friday still. And many salams. Salam alaikum. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody. Sleep tight. Oh, yeah, have a wonderful night. Sleep tight. Good night, everybody. Take care. God bless.